Hello, Fountain here, and today I want to talk about providing some techniques to help with others' differences. Now, obviously, it's going to depend on your perspective and how you see life and how you see the world, and I guess for many, it may appear that we live with lots of differences, and I guess in some societies, individuality is supposedly really, really valued. And if it's really, really valued, sometimes you've got to question, well, then why is it sometimes hard for people to accept differences in those societies? And I guess just to kind of put it in a real tight nutshell, one could just explain it as stories, programming around control, safety. I'm not going to go into details around that. You're welcome to do your own research and do your own sort of inner work and understanding around that. And I guess, one might then ask, well, why should one accept differences? And I guess to put that one in a nutshell, funny how I just sighed because really correlates to what I'm about to say. So I guess to many, or maybe some, I haven't done any research, so I don't make myself out to be the beholder of all knowledge. Carrying the burdens of like prejudices and trying to change others can actually be quite exhausting and frustrating, whereas accepting differences can often, not guaranteed, but can often actually broaden your horizons and bring more beautiful experiences to your life, to your community, to your family, to your friends. And I understand it's often easier said than done, but that doesn't mean that because it's not easy that we shouldn't try. And I would like to offer some techniques that may help one with trying to accept differences, supposed differences in others. And I know I'm kind of using these quotation marks because depending on the philosophy in which you're living your life currently, or religion, or some kind of spiritual beliefs, or whatever, that can obviously actually kind of provide a different perspective on others and on differences. So this is like obviously coming from a point of view of you are seeing people as others, and you are obviously seeing things in them that are supposedly different than you. And that's not to say that if you don't perceive others to be different, or that others are outside of you or other, that you are right or wrong, or I don't want to get into that sort of kind of dichotomy or philosophy. Anyway, so now that I think I've made it clear, let's get into the techniques. So the first one I talk about is obviously actually observing your thoughts through your interactions. So obviously, you can be actually communicating and speaking with someone and, observing differences. Or you can just obviously be going for a walk down the street and noticing differences. And while these things are occurring, it can obviously be good to actually observe what your thoughts are and probably what your feelings are, like having some actual self-recognition, being able to identify if you're starting to see something as different and it's hard to accept, like it's wrong, or it's just not something that really gels well with you. And obviously that can be not always an easy task. Sometimes it's good to have a friend or a trusted sort of mentor to obviously help shine light on that for you. But sometimes for some people it's really easy to see, oh, I'm noticing a difference in that person, and I'm noticing that I'm not really accepting that person or accepting that difference in that person. So yeah, obviously identification is a major technique, because if you can't identify that it's going on, then you don't even know that it's something that you are engaging in, obviously. Right, next one I'll talk about is sort of trying to look at the light in every situation, and sort of remembering that your way is not always the best way for every single person in that scenario or situation that maybe you're engaging in. You know, whether it just be a conversation and someone has a particular view on something, you know, they're often holding that view because it is bringing them some kind of peace or some kind of clarity or some kind of comfort, whatever it may be. You have to kind of realize that there are reasons as to why they're holding that sort of perspective, or they're different in that way, because it is somehow serving them. It might not look like it's serving them to you, but it's serving them in some way. So trying to see the light in why something appears to be different, and that could help with the acceptance of it. Another technique is trying to avoid a right and a wrong, right, wrong, left, right, whatever, dichotomy. I don't want to make something out to be the ultimate truth, but life isn't always black and white. And if you perceive life to be like that, you're welcome to perceive that way of life. It's just not a perspective that everybody holds. And from what I've observed, often when you're holding a very black and white sort of view, meaning there's only two ways or two outcomes of something, you know, it's very much a polarity, a duality, and it can sometimes cause a lot of discomfort. And to not allow the different kind of colours of rainbows of different perspectives and experiences, it can actually be quite restricting. And I understand for some people that's actually brings them a sense of comfort, a sense of safety, a sense of control, and that's no judgment on that. Like, people are welcome to live out their life and see the world in that way if they wish to. I'm just suggesting that if they want to try and maybe grow some more in particular ways, it might be more beneficial to see that life has lots of different colours. It's lots of different perspectives. I call it a multitude of perspectives. And I do understand there's certain philosophies, certain religions, certain spiritual beliefs that also then go further into that, saying it all comes back to the one kind of way, but I'm not going to go into that. It's not really the purpose of what I'm sharing here. Another technique is actually to stop judging yourself. Often, judgment of others is a reflection of your own self-judgment. So if you're finding that you're often coming from a very judgmental place when you're engaging with, you know, people, places and things, you might want to have a little look inside yourself and see, oh, am I accepting myself? Am I giving myself the self-love I need? Am I doing these things to fill up my cup so that then I can overfill my cup into the other people around me? You know, or am I not taking care of myself? Am I becoming very judgmental of myself? Might not be noticing that, but it's then coming out and then I'm projecting it onto others. So that could be another good technique, is if you're finding yourself coming from a very judgmental place, put the mirror back on yourself and go, what do I need to look at? What do I need to love in myself? Okay, next technique is trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes and trying to understand, I love that word, understand, actually how they might be feeling if you're coming from a place of kind of judgment and not accepting their difference. Like, how does that feel to you when someone is coming at you with that kind of, I call it an energy, it's basically like an emotion. And because often, not always, but the behavior that you're conducting out to others is they may be feeling what it is if you are also having that done to oneself. So if it's a feeling that you don't feel is really good, like it doesn't feel, you're not saying like, certain feelings are good to have and certain feelings are not, but if you don't feel like it's something that's actually serving you for your purpose, for what you're here to do, it kind of feels like it's out of your center, out of alignment, then, you don't probably want to be conducting in that kind of behavior. That's not to say that you've got to completely block off certain feelings that you've got because it might not be providing you with something that you feel is in your alignment. That's a whole other video. You've got to actually work through that. But, it's noticing those things and going, okay, well, how else can I change in the way that I'm communicating with this person? How can I change the energy? How can I work through this thing that I'm trying to project onto them? And then, I guess, with another sigh, kind of leads me on to the kind of last technique, very short, but slow down. Just slowing down and just, I guess that kind of goes back to observing your thoughts and your feelings, because when you're able to slow down, you're able to probably go through these other techniques. And there's a lot that's said in between the words, and there's a lot that's said between the silence. You don't have to engage, or if you do, you don't even have to speak many words. You can just simply listen to what someone has to say and go, oh, I often say, oh, that's really interesting. And I say that a lot, whether I actually do agree or I don't agree. That's like one of my go-tos. Oh, that's really interesting. Or like, yeah, I hear you. Thank you for sharing, and you don't even have to say, oh, well, I see it as something else, and, what you're saying is wrong. And, I understand there is times and places in which you have to really say, hey, this is wrong, this is not okay. Obviously, if it's to do with your own physical safety, there can be other, obviously, situations I won't go into. But, often a lot of times that differences might be coming up and you're not accepting them. Often that can just be very small things, everyday things that are not actually like putting your safety and your life for yourself or your community, your family and your friends in like serious danger. It's often just opportunities for you to then learn how to engage with that. How can I play in this in another way? How can I lift myself up and lift the other person up with me through this engagement or through this place or through this situation? So yeah, these are, I guess, the main techniques I wanted to share about, supposed others and supposed differences that we may have, and how do we accept those, I understand this content isn't going to resonate with everyone, and that's okay, but if it has and you want to engage with me some more about it, or even another topic, welcome to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I have a few other social media platforms that you can check out as well. If you've got some other topics that you feel like you would really like to hear some more of me speaking about, then you're also welcome to leave that in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next vlog.